What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 283. Of course, powered by Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Get your Golden Eagle at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. They've sponsored all season 4 of the podcast, so show them love because they've shown us love. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. And man, I got a lot to talk about. Some of it's going to be frustration. Some of it's going to be just regular news as usual. I know a lot of you like the fact that I went in on William Roberts, a.k.a. Rose, but, you know, I get those type of times where I'm like passionate about things, really passionate about things. Not to say that I'm not passionate about every episode and everything that I'm covering, but there's just certain ones that I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I know a lot of you like that a lot more, but it's harder, like, I don't want to fake passion and just consistently keep doing that. So I'm going to, whatever story intrigues me, all the stories I cover are the ones that intrigue me. I obviously want to cover as much news as possible, but there's only so much that I can cover and give the same amount of energy and time and effort into, and just research. It takes a lot of time to actually look into this stuff. Let's see what's going on here. What's going on here. So there's a lot, there's a lot that I'm passionate about, and I want to do those live streams, like I said. I need to figure out when, now that I'm out of the fasting stage and all that stuff, I want to figure out when to do them, because there's a lot to talk about. I've been wanting to go on YouTube Live for a minute, so I need to figure out, I need to start building the live aspect of the podcast and just having a show that's live once a month, maybe twice a month, 3 times a month, maybe more often, maybe once every week, and then figuring out, how to maneuver that. So we'll figure that out a little bit down the line. But let's get into the news. It's going to start out with Diddy. It's been pretty quiet for Diddy. I think all the attention is kind of shifted towards everything that's going on in hip-hop with Kendrick and Drake and, Chris Brown, Quavo, and whoever else everybody's basically fighting. Peppa the Pig, I think, this Taylor Swift's album, because Taylor Swift's album got rated less than Peppa the Pig's album, and she laughed her ass off on that and actually roasted her. So everybody's beefing. Everybody's having issues with people. Gucci just released a track, pretty much clowning Diddy. The whole song is No Diddy, so people are just gonna have a bunch of things that's going on right now, and everybody's gonna have their little thing. DaBaby talked about recently how a lyrical rapper called him to set up a fake beef so that they can create interest, and that what's interesting about that is that's very possible. Actually, let's just get into that. I was gonna start with Diddy. Let's just get into that baby thing. That's really unscripted and unscheduled, but I want to play that clip because it was interesting to me, and I want you guys to hear this because it was that interesting to me that he basically said a lyrical rapper wanted to start beef with him just so just so they can create interest for each other. So let's play this clip. Let's see.
Crazy you said that. So look, this like 2 days after the situation took place. This before J. Cole apologized, matter of fact. I got a call, I won't say from who, I got a call from a certain rapper. It's like a lyricist too, like a lyricist, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure y'all know him. If I said his name, 1,000% y'all know him, right? And I got a text from him. He shot me a text. He like, yo, he like, hit me, you gonna like this. He like, hit me, you gonna like this. I called him, I'm like, what up? He like, what's up with it? How you feeling? I'm good, what's up with it? He like, you wanna go up? How you feeling? You wanna go up? I'm like, what's up? Talk to me. He say, man, all the back and forth between J. Cole and Kendrick got me fired up. Bruh, I feel like we should diss each other. We cool behind closed doors. We should diss each other.
That should have go.
You know what I'm saying? And we cool, we know we cool, whoop, but bruh, I just feel like it'll just go crazy and yada, yada, yada. And I told him, I kind of like, you know what I'm saying, responded like the same way. I told him, I'm like, look, I'm like, I know for a fact what that'll do, right? But I'm like, at the same time, it's a little more personal with me. Like, I'm not about to say certain things about you if I don't really feel a certain way about you. You get what I'm saying? And I told him, I said, and that's out of respect for you. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, because it's, it can go either which way. Like with me, like I'm a,
So
like,
you don't really want the smoke.
It wasn't even that what I was telling him, even though I feel like don't nobody want that. And see, this beating made this me. I'm playing. But nah, like it ain't, and it definitely wasn't like on no rap. It's just that like, to me, like dissing somebody is like, and that's why like immediately when you get into the rap, I'm like, nah, not me, because like I can't see you a person a person like finding every which way to you get what I'm saying? The belittle me, make me feel some type of way, offend me, and then we still coexist on a respectable level. Yeah, you gotta disrespect me. Yeah. You got to, and I gotta disrespect you, and I'm not gonna disrespect nobody that I got respect for. Like, you get what I'm saying? Because of what come with it on my end, from my world, from the cloth I'm cut from. You get what I'm saying? I told him, I'm just like, nah. I said, I appreciate you thinking about me, reaching out. You know what I'm saying? I said, I appreciate it, but nah, bro. Like, out of respect for you, like, I'm gonna pass on that.
That's some real shit. So I didn't plan on talking about this, but I found it interesting because this has been something that's been talked about from other artists as well. And if I remember correctly, Jim Jones and Cameron were supposed to beef or something along the lines of that. Let me actually look that up right quick. Jim Jones, Cameron, fake beef. Peers reply, Jim Jones. Something along the lines of, I think Jim Jones. Yeah, Jim Jones pitched fake Dipset beef. Reveals Cameron, Jim Jones a few years ago, and how Capo even tried to convince him to go publicity stunt. Cam also talks about his falling out with Jim Jones from a few years back, which he says was a result of Jones cooking up an issue between the two. All of us in good space right now. I never really fed into it. We always strategize and stuff. There was a time Jones was in my kitchen. He was like, yo, let's act like we got beef. I'm like, why would we act like we have beef? So that's what I mean is I would not be surprised, and with DaBaby revealing that a lyrical rapper called him and said, let's set up a fake beef, I would not be surprised if that's happened more in hip-hop throughout the years. We just didn't know about certain ones. And I don't know, for me personally, I think most listeners can tell if it's a real beef or not. Like for example, right now what's going on, the Rick Ross and Drake thing, the way Rick Ross mentioned there's an issue is that Drake sent out a cease and desist for the French Montana record that he had featured on and with Rick Ross. If that's the true start of the beef, that's not going to last long. That's not going to be anything serious. Unless more serious things get dragged in, but I highly doubt it. I think they're clowning each other for each other's houses. Rick Ross showed love to Drake's mom, and Drake just clowning him about stupid things, him being fat, whatever. He didn't get his whatever the hell, I forget what he said, but it's like little stuff back and forth. Who has more money? Who's got a bigger yacht? Who's this and that? Now the Birdman stuff, disrespecting Birdman, that's a whole different story. I think Rick Ross and Birdman actually have a beef because Rick Ross jumped out the window with that Idols Became Rivals track where he's dissing Birdman for not paying Lil Wayne when they're having their issues. That's a whole different story. But the Rick Ross and Drake thing, I don't think it's going to be serious. I think in the next 6 months to a year, unless Rick Ross gets dragged in more in some way or another, or they take it to a different level, then it can go further. But that's like more of a not a staged beef, but just more like play, and it's not serious. And that's the same way I would have looked at the J. Cole and Kendrick thing. So looking back with J. Cole, at the moment, J. Cole apologizing disappointed me. But then now, after a couple weeks removed from it, when you really think about it, J. Cole didn't have in his heart to go after Kendrick because they never really had deeply rooted issues. At one point, they were supposed to release an album together. So that wouldn't have been a really interesting battle. The most interesting ones are the ones that have been brewing for a while, which is Drake and Kendrick. That's the main show because that's been brewing for years and years and years. And here's the funny thing, and I'm not going to reveal what I'm working on, but I've been looking at a lot of Kendrick Lamar interviews, old ones. And there was this one interview from Hot 97. Paul Rosenberg's Eminem's manager. Peter Rosenberg on Hot 97 said, let's talk about this beef you've been having. And you can see Kendrick kind of his like body language changes. Because I think he thought Peter was going to ask about Drake. And the way he shifted, he kind of looked at him like in a serious way. And he's like, oh, this beef that you're having with Schoolboy Q. And it's like a joking beef because Schoolboy Q and Kendrick were always roasting each other, blah, 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 and having jokes with each other. But the way Kendrick's energy shifted, that shit's been brewing for a long, long, long time. And that's a serious beef. That's something that they've thrown shots at each other for so long that, it's something that that's the beef that you want. That's the battle that you want. Sorry for saying beef. Honestly, I should stop using that term. Beef is more serious shit. There's a difference between battle and beef. Beef is when street shit starts pop off. Battle's just hip hop shit. So this battle's the one that you're supposed to want to pop off because it's been brewing for a while. But to call an artist and be like, let's just set up something just so we can boost our numbers, which it helps. Controversy helps, whether we like to admit it or not. I hate the fact that, I'll do a documentary that's not controversial, like the Get Rich or Die Trying one, which it has some type of shootings and murders and blah, blah, blah. But not really murders, I think, in the Get Rich or Die Trying. I don't remember that well. It did have the shooting, obviously, with 50 and a little bit of beef here and there and controversy with the Back Down record and stuff. But overall, it wasn't about murders and gangs and King Von and this and that and Jacksonville and all these rappers killing each other and speaking about dead ops. Those are the things that get views. Controversy sells. I hate that I do a Get Rich or Die Trying documentary, cover a classic album about how it got recorded, how it got broken to everything. And that gets 800,000 views. And then I do a G-Unit chain robbery story, and it's at 3 million views. And half the time, like it was nothing. That did 3 million views like it was nothing. So controversy, unfortunately, is just what people want, man. Unfortunately, that's, I could have been at a whole different level YouTube-wise if I just focused on beefs, if I just covered violence 24/7 on my channel and just became the next, whatever the hell content creator that just focuses on violence. That's it. Battles, all this stuff. Like I wanted to get out of it. I don't want to be the guy that was just creating content that did verses, beefs, and battles, and that's it. I wanted to do what happened to's. I wanted to cover stories on people's lives with Pop Smoke, with Nipsey, the people that passed away, Juice, that people wanted to know more about after they passed away. Cover whatever, a wide range of things. But yeah, so the DaBaby thing doesn't surprise me when he's saying, I kind of veered off topic, but what he's saying about this doesn't surprise me. I would not be surprised if a lot of battles were like that, where they just call each other and said, hey, let's do something. Because this would have boosted DaBaby's career and whoever it called. It would have boosted them for the moment. It would have boosted my channel, talking about it. Obviously, controversy boosts everything. If I'm in the media is getting boosted, artists getting boosted, everyone's paying attention. And it benefits revenue. It boosts revenue for everybody. Now, after everything settled down, if someone's career took a huge hit, which is rare in today's time because of social media and just having your own audience, then that person would have been affected. But for the most part, most people don't get affected by it unless it turns into actual beef and people are starting to kill each other. That's a whole different story. But I'm just talking straight battles. That's it. So that was interesting of him to say, man, and to reveal. And I'm glad he didn't do it. I'm glad he was like, it's not, my heart's not in it. I'm not going to go against you, even though it'd be entertaining and it would boost both of them. Because in a lot of people's eyes, DaBaby has fallen off. So this could have been something that could have rejuvenated a lot for him. Because I think when DaBaby wants to rap, he can rap really well. Just that freestyle, LA Leakers, when he actually wants to rap and can not stick in a same pocket of sound and actually try to switch styles and flows, then he's something special. But when he's in that same Scooby-Doo music, dun 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 dun, a bit like it's same type of sound, I'm just like, I don't want to hear this shit. So that was interesting. I wasn't planning on talking about that. So yeah, that just randomly came up in my head. But let's get to the actual things that I had planned talking about. Let's get into Diddy. Diddy's been kind of out of the limelight because all the battles happening. So his drug mule has entered a plea. So let's go over the article. Diddy's alleged drug mule, Brendan Paul, has entered a plea deal in his drug possession case. That's going to be interesting going down the line. Miami-Dade state attorneys officially filed a cocaine possession charge against the 25-year-old on Wednesday, April 24th, though they dropped another for the possession of a controlled substance. Whereas the former Syracuse basketball player was not at the hearing, his attorney, Brian Bieber, is that Justin Bieber's like cousin or some shit, entered a not guilty plea deal on his behalf. Paul was arrested at an airport in Florida for the possession of marijuana and cocaine last month, just as federal investigation into the alleged dealings of the embattled Bad Boy Records mogul began picking up steam. Rolling Stone initially reported that he was taken into custody in late March. He was approached at Opa-locka Airport by the Miami-Dade police, who have been working in cooperation with the Department of Homeland Security, according to the affidavit. He is entering a plea deal, so I don't know if that, if he's going to go against Diddy in any way. This is one of the guys that you want to turn against Diddy because, if he's the one that actually is the drug mule, allegedly, if he's the drug mule for Diddy, then, he's probably got the scoop on a lot of things that Diddy was doing or what type of drugs he was moving through his parties and stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted, but I think things are going to start heating up for Diddy here pretty soon. It's been basically a month since his house got raided. So, how long did it take the KPD situation? I'm not trying to compare. Every situation's different, but that took, I believe it was a month and like a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. So we're heading towards that time. I think sometime in May we might get something going on with Diddy, but we don't know. We'll keep our eyes posted. Megan Thee Stallion hasn't been really a stranger to controversy. What happened with the Tory Lanez thing, but now she's getting sued. And it's not looking good. So let's go over the article. Megan Thee Stallion has been sued by her former cameraman, who has accused her of harassment and creating a hostile work environment. Interesting. A lawsuit, which was filed on Tuesday, April 23rd, alleges that the plaintiff, Emilio Garcia, once witnessed the Houston hottie having sex with another woman in a moving car while they were traveling in Ibiza. Per court documents obtained by Hip Hop DX, the following day, Stallion inquired whether plaintiff was in the SUV the previous night. Plaintiff confirmed that he was in the SUV. Subsequently, Stallion instructed, "Don't ever discuss what you saw." Stallion berated and directed her fat-shaming comments towards plaintiff, such as "fat bitch, spit your food out," and that you don't need to be eating. Wow. It is important to note that he is suing under California law that states employees who work over a certain amount of hours cannot be classified as independent contractors. Wow. To that point, a legal paperwork reads, from the inception of his employment, plaintiff Garcia was misclassified as an independent contractor while working as a personal cameraman to defendant Stallion. Plaintiff has been treated as an independent contractor by Roc Nation and Stallion Entertainment so that he was effectively denied any of the protections an employee would have under California law. According to a report by NBC News, Garcia has revealed that his claims are based on harassment that was so severe or pervasive that it created a hostile work environment, making his working conditions intolerable. He is suing for punitive damages, attorney's costs, unpaid wages, plus interest on the unpaid wages, unpaid overtime wages, and other employee benefits at the legal rate. Said this, "I feel uncomfortable. I was kind of frozen. I was shocked at kind of just the overall audacity to do this right beside me," he said. The photographer who worked for Megan from 2019 until 2023 also alleges he was threatened, fat-shamed, and berated by her into silence. He also claims that he was thinking of quitting, but that he was ultimately terminated by the 29-year-old's management company, Roc Nation, the night before an assignment, which prompted him to seek legal representation. Megan just needs to pay our client what he's due, own up to her behavior, and quit the sort of sexual harassment and fat-shaming conduct, Garcia's attorney, Ron, said in a statement to the outlet. Emilio should never have been put in a position of having to be in a vehicle with her while she had sex with another woman. Inappropriate is putting it lightly. Exposing this behavior to employees is definitely illegal. Megan Thee Stallion's lawyer responded, though. Megan Thee Stallion's lawyer is pushing back against the recent harassment allegations made against her in a lawsuit by one of her former photographers. In a statement shared by Page 6, Alex Shapiro dismissed the suit as a money grab and deemed it an attempt to defame his client. This is an employment claim for money with no sexual harassment claim filed and with salacious accusations. Of course, these lawyers and these big-ass words are salacious. Accusations to attempt to embarrass her, he said. We will deal with this in court. I don't know, man. It's interesting, to say the least. A lot of people have felt kind of indifferent to Megan because of what happened at Tory Lanez, so they're kind of clinging onto this immediately. But, I mean, we got to hear both sides of the story. I have, though, heard a lot of these celebrities do not pay workers properly for their work when it comes to photography, when it comes to videography. Like, this guy was hired as an independent contractor, but he worked way more hours. At least he alleges he worked way more hours than an independent contractor. And under California law, that's actually an employee, so he should be having employee benefits or whatever comes with work with Megan Thee Stallion. And then the thing is, I've heard too many stories of celebrities underpaying people, disrespecting them. What's the story, man? There's a story of this guy that I know. I don't know him well, but I hired him. He did a little bit of work on the Get Rich or Die Trying thing. He shot. The only person I didn't see in person for the Get Rich or Die Trying shoot was the DJ Rad when he was in the Give It a Try and Shoot. He was in Miami. I would have loved to go. Honestly, I haven't been to Miami, so I was like, shit, I'm trying to see some Latinas. You know what I'm saying? What's up? Nah, not. Listen, I'm going to places for work, not fun. But I would have loved to been in Miami, but I didn't go. The reason why I didn't go is because there were just last minute too many interviews we had to do. So I instead flew out to Houston and to Vegas. I was in Vegas for literally maybe 10 hours, 12 hours. Landed there immediately in Vegas. That night no, that was Houston, sorry. I was in Vegas for about maybe a day. So we landed there that night in Vegas, shot Dirty Swift at his house, and then immediately flew back out that afternoon. So basically less than 24 hours. Houston was even quicker. Got there that night, hotel, got our rental car, went to Sean Blaze, shot him, got back at the hotel, went to bed super late, probably 3. Had to wake up at like 5 or 6 in the morning, so we got like 2-3 hours of sleep, if that. Flew back on a flight. So I couldn't fit in all these interviews because my original schedule for the documentary was obviously February 6th. So in my mind, I'm thinking I got like 2-3 weeks. I have to get all these interviews done, and I can't be everywhere so quickly at such times, and everybody's schedules is compact. So I just had to hire somebody to do that. But that guy that shot DJ Rad, he actually worked with a celebrity whose name I'm not going to mention because I don't want any lawsuits or any crazy things after me. But big celebrity, and basically got treated like shit. He was like, this person didn't let me eat, didn't let me rest. I was there the whole day, and the second I sat down just to get some food, because this is an event and they had a bunch of food out, and he was taking photos, videos, and everything. Didn't eat the whole day, but as they were getting rid of the food, because the whole day had gone by, he was like, I need to sit down and eat because all this food's going to go away and I can't have anything. I haven't ate anything all day. So he sat down for literally, he says, I mean, this is his story. I don't know if it's 100% true or not, but I keep hearing stories about this stuff. He sat down for literally 2 minutes, and the celebrity's team and the celebrity were like, what are you doing? Get up. And he was like, I'm trying to, I haven't even ate all day, blah, blah, blah. And scratch that. Just a celebrity, said, you're lazy, get up, keep shooting. He didn't get paid properly for it, got treated like shit. And he said, ever since then, he's like, I don't care about the celebrity. I don't care about what it could potentially do for me. He's like, they don't care. They treat people like shit, and they can give 2 fucks about, and I kind of experienced that a little bit as well. When my car, my Audi RS5 at the time, got used for that Lil Durk music video. It's that Queen Naija featuring Lil Durk song. I forget the song title, but my car was used for that music video. When it was, Tiana Taylor was the director. And she never showed love to any people on the set. Just showed up, was very aggressive and rude to people. I never got a thank you for the car, nothing. I didn't even get to eat the food that was there. And I was there that whole day and they used my car. I let them use my car because the guy, one of the other co-directors or whatever, was like, listen, let us use your car, and I can try to do my best to get you to link up with Lil Durk in one way or another. Ultimately, I could have been like, I know that's bullshit. Most people lie, but I was like, you know what? My car is going to be in a music video. Cool. My car is forever going to be in a music video, so that's going to be nice. Lil Durk's going to use it, and this is right after he did the song with Drake, Laugh Now, Cry Later, so he was on top. So I was like, cool. What I didn't know is my car was going to be there the whole fucking day from morning till night, and they weren't going to give us no food, nothing, man. We didn't get no love, no nothing. Nobody said, hey, we appreciate you guys for letting us use your car. Nothing. Matter of fact, after they got done using our car, we were just chilling there because we thought, they would need the car again, but our car was in a shot, way back. It was a street, and our car was in a shot. And Tiana Taylor was like, get them out of here. Why are they in our shot? I was like, what the? I was about to just curse her ass out. Iman Shumpert was there, so he probably kicked my ass. But I was furiated. I was like, what the fuck? How do you treat people who took out time of their day to get their, just to help you with this shot? Because they were struggling to get a car last minute. They were reaching out to all these dealerships, and they're like, because this was a Sunday. Yeah, it was a Sunday. So dealerships were closed. You had to just randomly hit up people and, They tried to get an R8. Now I have an R8, but at the time they tried to get one, I didn't have one. I had the RS5. So, yeah, it was just we got treated with disrespect. I think there's a few people that treated us with respect, but once I saw that, I was like, come on, man. That's like, you gotta, even if Tiana doesn't know that we've been there all day, doesn't know that we're not getting paid for any of this, doesn't know any of that, just show people respect. When you come up to the set, had she just shown everybody respect, hey, shake everybody's hand if you can, if you have time. Just be like, hey, thank you all, appreciate you all for doing what you guys are doing, all the work you guys are pulling in, whatever part you play in your. That's how I would be, and that's how I was with the Give It Die Trying documentary. Everybody got love, respect, showed everybody appreciation for what they did, how little, how small, everything. That's how you're supposed to be as a leader in anything. Just common courtesy and respect. But you hear a lot of these stories of like, look at this. If this is, I'm not saying this is true, but this is what the person's alleging. Calling the person fat bitch, spit out your food. You don't need to be eating. Like, what the fuck? Fat shaming people and just disrespecting them for no reason. The person's getting underpaid just in hopes that they can get an opportunity. Yeah, I can go on and rant about this stuff, but I've seen it firsthand, and then I've heard a lot of stories from other people. So, not saying it's true in terms of this Megan Thee Stallion situation, but the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, meaning in celebrities and how they treat a lot of workers or employees, and people will get underpaid for the hard work that they do. So we'll keep our eyes posted on this, man. It's definitely not a good look for Megan at all. So, we'll see what happens. Future. At some point, we got to start having the conversation of Future being in the big three of today's generation, last generations, because today's generation, I guess, I don't know. I don't know what to consider Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole. Are they today's generation? Are they the generation of 2010s? Whatever, this era, I don't know. They're getting a lot older, but whatever. We'll just say today's generation. A lot of people mention Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar as the big three. But Future, with this stat, I think solidifies him in the big three. Like, there has to be a conversation somewhere about Future being in there. Yeah, he might not be the most lyrical rapper, but he's maintained relevance for quite some time, and this stat just proves it. So, what am I talking about? Let's go over it. Future has joined the likes of Jay-Z and Eminem in an exclusive club of rappers to have at least 10 albums go to number one on the Billboard 200. Yes, 10 albums. The likes of Jay-Z and Eminem. Think about that. Future in the same conversation as Jay-Z and Eminem. Literally 5 years ago, a lot of people would probably not have guessed that. Actually, no. Dirty Sprite 2 was... Once Dirty Sprite 2 came out, I knew this guy was something special. He lost all that music on the hard drive with Esco and still delivered hardcore mixtapes back to back, and Dirty Sprite 2. I remember Dirty Sprite 2 so vividly because we just moved to Atlanta. Like, that was the summer when that album came out, was when I moved here to Atlanta. Every fucking car was bumping that album. Future, you would think Future was the hottest artist on the globe. That's all I heard is Dirty Sprite 2. That's it. I would love to do a documentary on Dirty Sprite 2. Like, that is an album that I would love to do like a Give It Die Trying type of documentary. I hope I get a chance to do that in the future. I would love to do it for the 10-year anniversary, but that's next year. The chances of that are very slim. But, I want to do a documentary on that. I think that's honestly, man, as the years go on, I don't have a long list of classic albums. I don't. And I mentioned only 4 so far, maybe 5. I'm not going to go over the classic list. I've went over them quite a few times, but I might have to include Dirty Sprite 2 in there because it's just, I go back to it every 6 months to a year or something, and it's just as good as the first time I listened to it. And personally, man, the more and more I listen to it, the less and less I have anything to skip. I'm like, damn, this song goes hard. Damn, this shit's hard. Damn, this is good. Damn, what the so. Yeah, we got to start the conversation of Future being the top 3, or the big 3, sorry, not the top 3. The Free Band's Boss hit the landmark after his second joint album, Metro Boomin' We Still Don't Trust You, debuted atop the chart, making their second number 1 of the year. The album marks Future's 10th chart topper, making him only the 5th rapper to reach the milestone, after Eminem, Jay-Z, Kanye West, and Drake. So we got Future in the conversations of Eminem, Jay-Z, Kanye West, and Drake. Think about that. These 5 that are named here, or at least these 4, excluding Future, have been probably the most consistent artists in all of hip hop in terms of like still selling records, still being part of, how do I put this? Still being part of a pop culture, like people still pay attention to them in pop culture. That's not to knock Nas, because Nas has been consistently quality, but he's not like mainstream, like to the point where he drops an album and like everybody listens to it, from, you know, young kids to older adults. You know, like Jay-Z, when he drops, everybody from young to old listens to it. Eminem, young to old listens to it. Kanye West, young to old listens to it. Drake, young to old. Future, young to old. So these names, Eminem, Jay-Z, Kanye, and Drake, have probably been the most consistent artists ever in hip-hop. I mean, just the numbers prove it. Every time Eminem drops, everybody's listening to it. Whether you like the album or not, people are tuned in. He'll do at least 200,000 first week or whatever, 150, whatever. Doesn't matter. Still does 150 to 250,000 first week easy. Jay-Z, 444 was the last solo album he released, but it created a moment, man. Everybody started reacting to it. Future got mad about the money to the ear thing and whatever the hell. Everybody was 50 called it golf course music and whatever. So people were reacting to it. It's part of the culture. Kanye, we know Kanye. Just recently we did with Vultures 1. Carnival being number one and all the stuff he's doing. We're going to talk about Kanye's dumbass a little bit later because he pissed me off with some stuff he's said and done. And then Drake, obviously. Drake's been, you know, the one. So Future being inserted into that is like, hey, man, you can't deny it. So Jay-Z has 14 number one albums, the most of any rapper, while Drake follows closely behind with 13. Kanye has 11, Eminem has 10. And the overall record out of all artists combined, rap, hip-hop, pop, rock and roll, jazz, whatever the hell, the Beatles have 19. So it's going to be a while, you know, before somebody matches that. So 19. Eminem has 10. So that's kind of a low number, man, when you really think about it. Like, does Eminem only have 10 albums out in his career? I'm saying only, like, that's not a lot of albums. Now that I think about it, yeah, Eminem took some good breaks between his career. He did take like a 6-year hiatus. So Infinite's not officially, because it's not a mainstream album. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so 10. Damn, Eminem only has 10 albums. And the only reason I'm saying only is because a lot of artists at this point in their career have, like, look at Drake. Drake's already got, you know, Drake's been consistent for a fat minute. Drake's already got 13. Kanye has 11. Eminem with 10. So Jay-Z's got 14. So Jay-Z's been doing his thing. Yeah, Eminem's going to release this year, so he's probably going to get 11, which is going to match Kanye. But then if Kanye drops Vultures 2 and hits number one, he's going to increase his number. And then Drake, I wouldn't be surprised if Drake drops an album this year. Honestly, that Push-Ups record, guys, is Drake sounding amazing. I'm enjoying that. I'm not even going to lie. So, yeah, and then Future's been dropping albums left and right. So, we'll see. Jay-Z's got 14 of them things. I wonder if they're counting the collab albums from Jay-Z, because Jay-Z don't got 14 albums, does he? I'm tripping, man. I can't keep counting all these damn albums that these artists be dropping. Let's see if they're counting actual collab albums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So he's got 13 solo albums. So I guess they're counting the collab albums? Yeah, I don't know. 1, 2. Did I count that wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, he's got 13. So this says here 14. I don't know. They might be counting collab albums. I mean, wouldn't they have more than just 14, though, if they're counting collab albums? Because Jay-Z has 4 collab albums. The Best of Both Worlds with R. Kelly. Where the fuck did that debut at? The Best of Both Worlds, supported by 3 singles. Debuted at number 2. Okay. Unfinished Business. The other R. Kelly. This guy fucking made 2 collab albums with R. Kelly. So weird. Debuted at number 1. So that's a number 1. Okay. We know Watch the Throne has to have been number 1 album. There's no way. Right? Or am I assuming they dropped this album the same time fucking Adele dropped her album. Number one debut, okay, which I assumed. I assumed the Watch the Throne 100% was number one. And then the Jay-Z and Beyonce album, Everything Is Love, debuted at number 2. Okay, so yeah, so you should have at least 15 then instead of 14, because the Unfinished Business with R. Kelly debuted at number 1, and then the Watch the Throne debuted at number 1. The other two ones debuted at number 2. So yeah, you should have 15 if they're counting collab albums. Wait, for Kanye, unless Jay-Z didn't have a number 1 debut on an album, which I don't think. He's always debuted at number 1 on albums. I don't know how they're counting it. That's interesting in itself. But congratulations to Future. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because, hey man, somebody's got to start having these conversations of Future being one of those most influential and just being the most consistent. I know a lot of his came with Drake included in him, but still, Dirty Sprite 2 is just, Drake was involved in it with a feature, but at the end of the day, that album was Future. So, yeah. So we'll keep our eyes posted. See, I'm sure this number's going to change as Kanye drops, as Eminem drops, and whoever else, maybe Drake. I don't know if Jay-Z is going to drop ever again, but we'll see. So we'll keep our eyes posted. Continuing on, Ja Rule. I know, immediately the Dave Chappelle skit came to my head. Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this? This is ridiculous. Ja Rule has decided to chime in on basically what's happening with Drake and decided to compare himself to, the Drake situation of 20v1. And Ja Rule, man. Let's just go over the article. Ja Rule has said that the current feuds in hip-hop are nothing compared to his legendary beef with 50 Cent. Making his thoughts known on X, Ja initially joked, 20v1, I can relate, referencing Drake's line on push-ups about his enemies ganging up on him. He put a laughing emoji after that 20v1 I can relate tweet. And then he said, hip-hop is a family and no one wins when the family feuds. Don't let that go over your head. Hip-hop versus everybody. One guy jokingly trolled Ja Rule and said, they said 50 Cent had Ja Rule seeing 20, meaning like he beat his ass so bad that he was seeing 20. He quoted that saying, Unit literally had an order of protection against Murder, Inc. Can you imagine if one of the camps in this beef right now put an order of protection on the other? CWWTST. You guys already know I'm about to tear this apart. This is funny. So, first, the 20v1 thing. Ja Rule is acting like the victim in the beef. Yes, he got jumped by a bunch of artists. What I mean by jump, not figuratively, but on tracks, everybody attacked him. During everything, he was actually even beefing with DMX, which had nothing to do with the 50 situation, but DMX was even having issues with him. But why did the 20v1 thing happen? 50 gets signed. So 50 already had issues with Ja Rule. 50 had put that in the back burner because he had made it clear he didn't want people signing a problem. Meaning he didn't want to just be like, hey, I got beef with Ja Rule. You guys are signing me. I'm going to be getting in battles with people and causing problems. He didn't want to seem like he was a problem that was getting signed. So he had put the Ja Rule thing on the back burner. He was already seeing success, buzzing hot. Hey, I got bigger fish to fry. I'm not going to worry about Ja Rule right now. Signed with Eminem. Eminem made it very clear that 50 told him, hey, I will not be going at Ja Rule. I'm not worried about this guy anymore. I've moved on. Do I believe 50 in that? No. I do believe how petty 50 is and how we know 50 right now. He would have definitely gone at Ja Rule regardless. But it's Ja Rule going in magazine interviews and not only shitting on 50, but then shitting on Eminem and Dr. Dre. He did that. Let's all remember that. He went in magazine interviews, shitted on not only 50, laughing about how he got stabbed. We stabbed him up in the studio. But then had the audacity and nerve to drag Eminem and Dr. Dre in it because they signed 50. What do you expect to happen, Ja Rule? Do you expect them not to retaliate? Like, what 20v1 happened because you made it happen. Had you just made fun of 50 getting stabbed and not mentioned Eminem or Dre, I think it would have stayed just Ja Rule and 50. I don't think Eminem would have got involved. I don't think Dre would have got involved. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think 50 would have attacked Ja Rule regardless, had Ja Rule mentioned him in the magazine or not. I think 50's just that petty and didn't like Ja Rule that much that he would have still attacked Ja Rule. He was just like, hey, he was waiting and hoping that Ja Rule would have attacked while he was signed with Eminem. Because before he was signed, he made it clear to Eminem and Dre, I'm not going to be going at this guy. And he kept his word for the moment until Ja Rule went out, and decided to clown 50 in the magazine interviews. And then 50 said, Eminem, he basically said, hey, this guy's attacking me. Em and Dre were like, hey, do your thing. Because Em and Dre didn't give a fuck at that point because Ja Rule was attacking them too. So go ahead, man. Let's destroy this guy. And then what happened? Onslaught. Eminem, 50, Dre, all of Shady Aftermath, Obi Trice, D12, everybody that was there. G-Unit, of course, Banks, Yayo, Buck, Game, even at some points. Whatever. Just everybody had started attacking. Busta Rhymes, who was signed to Aftermath. Everybody, man. Everybody that you can think of that was related to Dre, M, and 50 all went at him. And that was because of Ja Rule's fault. No other reason. So Ja Rule playing as like victim, I got jumped by all these artists. That's why they destroyed my career. Because you did it. You jumped out there. That's not retwist history. Watch my 50 versus Ja Rule documentary. Get a whole history of it. And you'll see he jumped out the window first. He should have just... Honestly, here's the thing. What I would have done if I was Ja Rule. I see, hey, the guy that I have beef with is building a huge buzz. And he's climbing up, right? And he gets signed by the biggest rapper at the time, Eminem. He's got the machine behind him now. Had 50 attacked me, I would have simply ignored him. Ignore him. Because at a certain point, it's gonna make 50 look stupid attacking somebody that's not responding, that doesn't pay him no mind. I would have just ignored him and kept making my pop hits. Hey, I'm a pop artist. Cool. That's what you think? Cool. Oh, we're calling ourselves murderers? Yeah, because we're murdering the charts, motherfucker. We got number ones. What are you doing? That's why we're called Murder Inc. Not because we're murderers, but we're murdering the charts. We're murdering the competition. That's what I would have said. Shit. Because 50 was clowning them about being Murder Inc. Not really gangsters. I would have been like, the reason why we named our company Murder Inc. is because we're murdering the competition. We're murdering the charts. We're getting number ones back to back. What are you doing? That's what I would have said just in a magazine interview, just a clown 50. Been like, well, that why we're called Murder Inc.? Great question. We're murdering the charts. We're murdering the competition. That's simple. I would have just ignored it and kept putting out my hits. Kept doing that. Ja Rule would have been perfectly fine. I'm telling you right now. 50 tricked Ja Rule out of his position. 50 tricked him. 48 Laws of Power. Tricked him out of his position. Got into his own head. And said, you ain't this gangster rapper. And what did Ja Rule start doing? Making more gangster records. We gonna clap back. New York was a fire record. New York, whatever. Fire record. But here's another thing, too, that, when I did my 50 versus Ja Rule documentary, I realized that it was just a perfect storm for Ja Rule to go down in Mirror Inc. Because Supreme ended up getting locked up. Then, the FBI and, the feds assumed that Irv Gotti and Murder Inc. and Ja Rule and Chris Gotti and all of them were funneling money to Supreme to fund drug things and things like that. So now when you got the feds involved and they're seizing your money, they're seizing your company, they're limiting you from how you can, you got the feds watching you, so you're not going to really be able to respond that well to disses. You have to keep it very low key, which Ja Rule had to do. That held him back. So as much as I'd like to give 50 credit for destroying Ja Rule's career, it was an onslaught. It wasn't just 50. 50 probably contributed to probably, I want to say 60% of Ja Rule's career. Actually, 40% of Ja Rule's career getting destroyed. 40% was the whole Fed thing, because that screwed everything up. Because when I did the 50 versus Ja Rule, I was surprised by it when I did the documentary. Because I realized in 2004, Ja Rule was still delivering hits. Wonderful with R. Kelly and Ashanti. That went top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. The New York record, I don't know what number that went, but that was like top 40. So they're both pretty big hits. So they were still delivering hits, even after the whole 2003 beef was happening. 2004, still delivering hits. But the feds slowed everything down, seized their assets, seized their bank accounts, limited on what Ja Rule could, how could he respond? And, you know, all that storm of 50 becoming the new hot guy, the biggest rapper at the time, Eminem co-signing him and jumping in the battle with Dr. Dre and a bunch of artists attacking him. And then the Fed thing all just made the perfect storm to destroy Murder Inc. and Ja Rule's career and everybody else involved, Chris Gotti, Black Child, and all those other artists. So, you know, that's something that, you know, a lot of 50 fans won't admit. I'm one of the biggest 50 fans, as you guys know, but I'll admit that it's not just 50 that had a role into that. I think when 50 gets the full props on that, I guess in the image and the eye, it makes sense because 50 started it. Like 50, you know, was a main thing with 50 and Ja Rule. That was the main two opponents. It's like in this Drake and Kendrick thing. If someone's career gets destroyed, yeah, there are a lot of side pieces with Future, Rick Ross, Weeknd, A$AP Rocky, and all these J. Cole and all these people. But the main people are gonna, Drake and Kendrick are the ones that are gonna get the credit or, you know, clowning because they're the main guys. And that's what 50 and Ja Rule was. They were the main guys. So everybody else was kind of pieces to the puzzle. But if you look at it, if you actually break it down like I did with the documentary, I realized that, you know, it was just a perfect storm. So, but it was Ja Rule's fault. Like I said, ignore. You can't tweet about this stuff saying 20v1 I can relate with the laughing emoji. And I actually give Drake props for going up against everybody. And somebody had tweeted at me, a few people have tweeted at me. So is Ja Rule, because I said, I call it Drake potentially the GOAT. Like he can be one of the greatest rappers of all time if he goes against everybody and destroys everybody. I'm telling you right now, because we don't see that often. 50 did it with Piggy Bank and records here going at people. But Drake has the opportunity to do it at the next level, next stage, because Drake's still on top, dominating, and it's a new era with social media. So if he destroys everybody, Future, Weeknd, all these artists, and goes all at them and destroys them, you can't help but give Drake his props, man, as one of the best ever. When I said that, people responded, well, what about Ja Rule? Why don't you give him props? He went up against everybody. Because one, Ja Rule lost that. Two, Ja Rule does not have the plethora of hits that Drake does. Ja Rule is nowhere near Drake's level. That's another reason why Drake would get that high level of GOAT status, because he's delivered day in and day out. And I don't want to hear no bullshit about ghostwriters and, oh, you got ghostwriters and this and that. Come on, guys. A guy who has ghostwriters, you would have caught, had a bunch of records written about him. There's only a few records here and there, and a lot of them are more melody pop records. Like the stuff, the Lil Yachty, the reference track, that's more of a melody pop record. I haven't heard full verses, word for word, written by somebody else from Drake. One guy mentioned the Meek Mill Rico record. Even that record has melodies in between it, and a lot of words are changed. A lot of lines are changed in that. It's not word for word, you know, so that's a whole different thing. But then he mentioned, obviously, the G-Unit order of protection. I disproved that in the documentary, the 50 vs. Ja Rule documentary. Studio guy, the DJ or whatever, the engineer, got stabbed. He's the one that submitted the order of protection. I doubt 50 would submit an order of protection against those guys when he was dealing with Supreme. Like, if anybody, he would file against Supreme, because Supreme's the actual guy that would do it, or at least had the guys that would do it around him. Not no Ja Rule and Gotti. They're the ones making multi-millions. They're in the public eye. They would not do some shit like that. Try to murder somebody. Come on. I never, you know, but Ja Rule is going to spin his narrative of stuff. And but Ja Rule, you know damn well you're the one that's created that 20v1 thing. So I just want to talk about that because Ja Rule has lost his marbles when it comes to that. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if Ja Rule says anything else. Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this? This is ridiculous. Before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Golden Eagle for sponsoring this podcast. Yes, if it wasn't for Golden Eagle, this podcast wouldn't be possible. If you're looking for an energy drink that doesn't tear a hole in your pocket, Golden Eagle energy drink is the one you want to get. Golden Eagle has the smoothest taste with no aftertaste. You don't get acid reflux when you drink it, and you will save a lot of money. So check out Golden Eagle at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. The link is in the description below. And how do you think this podcast would be possible without me having energy to do it? Come on, guys. You guys got to remember this. I need energy to do this stuff, man, because there's a lot of crazy topics. So look how smooth this thing sounds. Look at it. Oh my God, it's fresh. Look at that Golden Eagle. Look at the can. It's so beautiful too, man. Look at that. That's so fresh, man. So fresh. Golden Eagle energy drink. Go to the link description below. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Let's continue the episode. Kanye West. Man, what I want to say about Kanye West, I give him props on a lot of things, and you guys have heard that on the podcast. Going independent, doing his own thing, speaking up of how he feels, even though not a lot of it is, what I agree with. But hey, man, Kanye's like to be a free man, isn't with the record label anymore, isn't with these big companies, Adidas. But, there's some stuff that he says that I've always disagreed with. Him calling himself God is always something I've always had an issue with. During the Yeezus album, he was saying that back to back to back, and his followers were loving it. I mean, they were agreeing with it, and I've always disagreed with that. This guy is not God. Don't look at him as God. Anybody who claims to be God is not God. It's corny to say it, and I've never agreed with it. Well, there's this interview with Justin LaBoy. It's called The Download podcast, apparently the first episode. Kanye's, on it, And first, I want to say this is one of the worst interviews I've ever watched in my life. I'm not even joking. I just haven't seen such a poorly done interview ever. Horrible questions. The glazing, I don't even use the word glazing. Never in my life have I used this word. But for this, I brought it out, which is wild. No Diddy. I didn't bring out, no Diddy. Glazing is basically dick riding. This guy was glazing the shit out of Kanye West. Anything Kanye West says, yeah, yes, master. Yes, I agree. Oh, genius. You're genius. Like, bro, did you have any fucking pushback on anything that Kanye said? The guy was calling himself God for every second in the interview. Could you not have been, you know what, Kanye, why do you think you're God? Nah, man, I disagree with that. I think God is this, whatever. Or something. Give him some pushback. Like, what? This was horrible questions, endless amounts of glazing. And I said this on Twitter. If I had 50 here in an interview, I would not be doing this amount of glazing. I know some of you guys are going to clown me and be like, yo, Quake, you're capping. But I'm honest. Listen, I would have said about what I talked about earlier with the Ja Rule thing. I would have said, listen, I know you get a lot of props with the Ja Rule thing, but I think it was just a perfect storm to destroy him. You definitely did your thing, but it was not, this image that's out there that you just destroyed his career. It definitely a perfect storm of stuff. I'd push back on a lot of things, man. There's a lot of things that I can push back on 50 on that I disagree with. I think he missed on a lot of things with a lot of albums. Curtis, that album title should have been a more personal album. He missed on that. Why am I having all these hiccups, man? My mouth's getting dry quick today. I don't know what's going on. I've been drinking a lot of water, so I got all these hiccups coming up. I would have pushed back on a lot of different things. I think he's got a lot of failed TV attempts and things that I would have said, listen, music career, a lot of things that I would have been like, why'd you do this? Where's the music? You failed on this, that. Should have done this. But regardless, this guy was glazing like to no ends. Like, it was ridiculous. One of the worst interviews I've ever watched, and I'm not even exaggerating. It was just that bad. This guy should not be doing interviews with people that he likes to that extent, or anybody that he likes, because all the questions are the most softball-ass questions. Yeah, this guy clearly just doesn't know how to do interviews. Anyways, in the interview, Kanye talked about Lil Durk kind of changing on him. And I'll play the clip for you guys.
Like, for instance, Durk sent in a verse, and he said, take my Yeezy shirt off and make it a domat. And he said it 4 times. Yeah, Lil Durk said this. I hit him up. I said, you're breaking my heart. Wow. Who told you to do this? I'm like, wow. I don't know if it's a legal thing that happened, and I'm trying to sit with the man. I'm like, man, this is bad for the city. Who told you to do this, bro? It's just like when J. Cole did the diss track or whatever. It's like, it's one thing, you got Drake. It's like he's really paid to come and do whatever he does and shit, come on my neck, all this type of shit. Right. But it's another thing for somebody like that to come around you. It's like that's all the whole friends enemy kind of talk and shit. Like,
but Durk was on Vultures though.
Yeah,
but he was rocking with you. So you telling me he really not rocking with you?
He must have never really liked me or whatever. I don't know exactly what it is, but I spoke to this man a few times about, the line. Then he changed the line. Then he changed the line to, I take my Yeezy hat off and give my little hoe that. And I'm just like, why y'all think y'all could play with me? See, they think I'm he's gonna get hyped up. Let's watch him. Like, people try to like take your kids and, give you a rap bar, say some lines. Yo, it's like,
are you disappointed in Durk? Honestly, like let's speak real. Like, you my brother. Are you disappointed in Durk?
I'm not disappointed. It's like, man, niggas is like, yo, y'all should meet up. Blah, blah, blah. I don't really listen to that much rap. No way. I don't know nobody. I don't know nobody fucking raps, man. I don't even know my own raps. So fucking put a mask on and grab a microphone. I don't listen to that shit, man. Yeah. Period. I don't listen to nothing, man. I'm just God. Period.
That's what you want. You stand on that. Because you have to feel it. Obviously we spoke about Drake earlier. Durk went from Vultures to on tour with Drake. You didn't feel no way about Durk. I mean, you could be like, we could be vulnerable with each other. That shit was heartbreaking to you, bro.
No, it didn't break I ain't had enough heart into it for it to break my heart. It wasn't that much of it. But it didn't break my heart. But when they sending over these verses and saying like, I cut my Yeezy, I can't even, like, I want to say it was unbelievable, but at this point, any and everything is possible. Anything and everything is possible. So it's whatever, man,
See, even in this fucking clip, I'm God. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's what pissed me off. But what's upsetting about this is, I've said this on the podcast before, I really, really love when Lil Durk and Kanye work together. I've always wanted a Lil Durk album executive produced by Kanye West. I think that'll be Lil Durk's best album. I think some of the best music will get ever produced from both Kanye's end and Lil Durk's end. So it's unfortunate that if they are having a fallout, it's unfortunate because we're getting robbed of a lot of great music. So one thing I hate about this interview is the whole God thing. And then, a lot in this interview is just corny and stupid. And, I called Future because I wanted to take down, eliminate Drake. Like, this sounds so stupid. All that does is prop up Drake to be more of a, godlike artist, or GOAT. Because now you're all teaming up like the fucking Avengers to take out Thanos. Like, what is going on here? Yeah, the whole interview is trash, garbage interview. And then this is another thing. So Kanye is reportedly entering the porn industry. I'm not even joking. I think he's trolling, to be honest with you, but I could be wrong because he posted about it today as well. Let's go over the article. Kanye West is reportedly looking to bring his beautiful, dark, twisted fantasies to life with his own adult film company. According to TMZ, the father of four is planning to launch a Yeezy porn studio, which will be part of a broader adult entertainment division in his existing Yeezy empire. The outlet claims that Ye is in talks with Mike Moss, the ex-husband of porn star Stormy Daniels, who is a veteran in the business himself, to help him get the brand up and running. As for launch date, Yeezy porn could make its debut as early as this summer. While the move would be certainly out there, even for Kanye West, the rap icon has made no secret of his appetite for adult content in the past. In 2019, when he released Jesus is King, he admitted he has a full-on pornograph addiction. For me, Playboy was my gateway into full-on porn. My dad had a Playboy, left out to age 5, and it affected me every choice I made the rest of my life. Anyways, this is probably the dumbest shit Kanye could do in his career. Very contradiction. You're contradicting yourself. You're calling yourself God, a man of God. God is king. Jesus is king. All this stuff, and then you're doing devil things. We know porn is not holy. Like, let's not pretend like it is. And Kanye can't turn it into something holy. It reminds me of this story, which has actually turned out to be true when I looked it up. Gaddafi. He called a bunch of models to come to his big, mansion event, right? Bunch of models. These models were thinking they're going to go party. They're going to have a time of their life. This is Gaddafi. He's multi-millionaire, billionaire, whatever the hell he's worth. And he gave them the Quran and said, we're all going to recite verses from the Quran. That's it. And you guys are going to leave with the book of the Quran here. We're going to learn more about the Quran and everything. And that's just hilarious. So I'm hoping Kanye does that type of flip. I don't know. I'm just hoping for the best out of this. But if Kanye actually launches this, there's no more for me to defend this guy. There's nothing that I can say anymore that, like, he is just a fucking loser at this point. It's sad, man. And his mom, I don't know his mom. We don't know his mom like that, but his mom would definitely disapprove of this. This is like next level shit. Maybe he's struggling financially. Maybe he's thinking, hey, I could do the Kim Kardashian thing and potentially make hundreds of millions of dollars off this, so let me go this route. But you can do better, Kanye. Come on. This is not it, especially when you're trying to preach this God thing, and I'm against the devils and the music industry devils and all these devils around, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're going the devil route with that. So I hope it's trolling. I hope the next podcast episode we come to find out it's trolling. I would love that. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But knowing Kanye, it could be just trolling, just to get people to go on the website. Because, a lot of people watch porn. So maybe, that's probably why people would go on the website immediately to see what's up. It could be just a marketing tactic. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. So I hope it is, man. I'm leaning towards more a marketing tactic than it actually being real. So I'm hoping it's a marketing tactic, but we'll keep our eyes posted. Suge Knight has decided to react to Drake using AI voices of Tupac and AI voices of Snoop Dogg to disrespect Kendrick Lamar, who's part of the West Coast, who's from Compton. And I predicted this already ahead of everything, that Suge Knight was going to say this and that it would end up potentially causing a West Coast / not East Coast, because Drake isn't from the East. He's from Toronto up north. But it could potentially cause the old times of Tupac and Biggie, where a whole coast will go against a whole coast. I'm not saying that it should get there and that I hope it never does, but using Tupac is a very sensitive thing, and using him to disrespect somebody from the West Coast, which Tupac repped a lot, is another sensitive thing. And Suge Knight utters the exact same thing I was saying on my last podcast, where I talked about 50 and what he said about the track. And he just said, listen, I know how this goes. I've seen this movie before. It can get bad out here. And a lot of people are saying you're reaching with that, Quake. He's just saying Drake is that good of an artist and that, he'll destroy, anybody that goes at him, whatever. That's another route that you could take. But I viewed it more as, be careful with bringing in, especially a dead artist, back to disrespect somebody that really respected him. And that a lot of people look at the second coming of him. A lot of people look at Kendrick as this next Tupac that's carrying the torch. So, yeah, Suge Knight uttered the same thing. So we know Snoop Dogg responded to it. He just basically kind of laughed off. He didn't really side with anybody. He just was confused. He was like, what? How? Who? And 50 responded in the way he responded. And what we wanted to hear from is obviously Suge Knight. He's the one that was closest to Pac. He responds to the track, but then also throws Snoop Dogg under the bus, because a lot of people feel like Snoop Dogg has always been jealous of Tupac, always hated him, even when he was alive, stuff like that. So Suge Knight throws him under the bus. So check out what Suge Knight has to say.
Drake, hey, Justin, young people do what young people do. It's y'all turn. But my little homie Pop, he wasn't no joke. Ben, you damn sure ain't no joke. I'll be made up a joke now. Putting him on a song with him dissing Kendrick of Everybody Entertainment, that ain't how it go. Boy, putting him on a song with Snoop, who was part of his downfall, and never a good look. Pac was a king on that chessboard. He never was a pawn, so he can't make to be a pawn now. West Coast, it's a whole state, real gang members of all colors, all races. You want them coming together, especially when motherfuckers sleeping in the lion's den. Wake those lions up. On the West Coast, enter with caution.
So as you can hear, Suge Knight basically addresses Drake, hey, don't use this guy as a pawn. He's a king on the chessboard. This guy's at a higher level than you could ever fathom, and you're using him as a tool to go against a guy who's from the West Coast that highly respects Tupac. So, here's the thing. A lot of people probably from the West Coast feel like this because I mentioned in the last podcast, once again, I'm going to bring this up. There was that 2014 moment that Drake went on the Sports Center or whatever sports show on ESPN. I forget what show it was exactly. And he went in on Kendrick, but ultimately ended up never releasing it. He told ESPN, do not put that out because he feared that it was too early and it would cause a coastal issue between them because he was actually saying in that interview, he said, hey, Kendrick is just local. Only people in Compton listen to him. Nobody really fucks with Kendrick outside of Compton. And that would have alienated Drake from the West Coast, from L.A. So it was smart of him at that time to be like, nah, I ain't going to release this and don't release it. Don't put it out. Because once you do that, you're going to alienate a whole side and you're going to have problems. And that was too early in his career to be doing that. Now he's a lot more popular, a lot bigger as an artist. No Diddy, a lot more money, just more powerful overall. So, now he feels more comfortable in, going at Kendrick and potentially, going at a whole coast. You know how people ride for the West Coast and their West Coast artists. And then Suge Knight utters another thing that I said. It's a West Coast. There's a lot of gangs involved. Bloods, Crips. They will get together to stand beside Kendrick Lamar to go at Drake. And a lot of rappers would probably go on Kendrick Lamar's side in the West Coast. YG would side with him. I'm sure there's going to be so many on that side that it would be ridiculous. That's why Snoop Dogg didn't really side with anybody because I feel like he wants to be in the middle of this thing. But if it really came down to it, Snoop Dogg would side with Kendrick Lamar. Game, I don't know. Game kind of hinted at being on Drake's side, so I don't know about that. But it'd get really, let's just say, really, really bad. So he needs to tread lightly with that. I would be careful on the Tupac thing. I would tread lightly, even though I felt it wasn't really disrespectful, but it was, kind of disrespectful to use somebody else's voice and then go at a West Coast artist that, who knows, Tupac would have probably loved if he was alive. So yeah, I agree overall with Suge Knight on what he said. And I really appreciated his take on this because his insight when it comes to anything Tupac related, I always want to hear because it's just always interesting. So let me know what you guys think. Would it ever get to a point where, hey, it would be a whole coastal battle like the Tupac and Biggie thing? Or, will people just kind of look at it as a joke diss that, that shouldn't be taken really serious? Let me know. I think, if Drake, gets Compton, mentions Compton, hey, you're locally in Compton, nobody really rocks with you outside of the West Coast, starts to bring the West Coast thing a lot more in the disses. If it continues on, if Kendrick responds, then he responds, it can get really bad. Mentioning Top, TDE, and, that gets to levels of disrespecting other people, and then more people get involved. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted on if anything happens, but let me know what you guys think. Drake, just like I predicted, man, he is facing backlash from Tupac's estate. We got Snoop Dogg's response, right? He didn't really have anything really to say about it. He was just surprised that his AI voice got used in that Drake tailor-made freestyle diss towards Kendrick Lamar. Then we got a response from Suge Knight, which I agree with Suge Knight. I talked about how a lot of people in the West Coast could take Drake using Tupac's AI voice to diss a West Coast artist that respects Tupac in a very bad way. West Coast could end up having a coastal war with Drake up north with Toronto people. So it could get very ugly in terms of the West Coast. They don't take lightly to artists getting disrespected, especially from their hometown. And I know Tupac isn't from 100% California, but he repped it for a long time. So they view him as pretty much a West Coast artist in their own right. Well, it looks like Tupac's estate is siding with Kendrick Lamar and wants no parts in Drake using Tupac's name, identity, voice, whatever, in disrespecting Kendrick Lamar. So let's go over the article. Tupac's estate has given Drake an ultimatum regarding his tailor-made freestyle diss against Kendrick Lamar, which features the late rapper's likeness in artificial intelligence form. On Wednesday, April 23rd, Billboard obtained and published a cease and desist letter from litigator Howard King to the Canadian superstar for using a computer-generated replica of the West Coast icon's voice on his latest song. The Death Row Records legend's family is threatening to pursue all of its legal remedies if he doesn't pull down the track in question within 24 hours of receiving the notice. The estate is deeply dismayed and disappointed by your unauthorized use of Tupac's voice and personality, the note reads. Not only is the record a flagrant violation of Tupac's publicity and the estate's legal rights, it is also a blatant abuse of the legacy of one of the greatest hip-hop artists of all time. The estate would never have given its approval for this use. The unauthorized, equally dismayed use of Tupac's voice against Kendrick Lamar, a good friend to the estate who has given nothing but respect to Tupac and his legacy publicly and privately, compounds the insult. So they're saying, listen, you're going up against a guy who's always shown love to our estate and our artists that we are representing. We ain't dealing with that bullshit. It's hard to believe that Tupac's record label's intellectual property was not scraped to create the fake Tupac AI on the record. The song has generated well more than 1 million streams at this point and has been widely reported in the general national press and popular entertainment websites and publications. Without question, it is exponentially more serious and damaging than a picture of you with some other people on a low-volume website. If you comply, the state will consider whether an informal negotiation to resolve this matter makes sense. If you do not comply, our client has authorized this firm to pursue all of its legal remedies, including but not limited to an action for violation of the estate's copyright, publicity, and personality rights, and the resultant damages, injunctive relief, and punitive damages and attorney's fees. Also, though, and we're going to talk about this a little bit after, is Tupac's brother was unhappy with Drake using, his voice. Before I get into that, though, I want to talk about this actual lawsuit and if they can actually sue. That's the thing we got to look into. So, one, this song hasn't officially been released on streaming platforms. No Spotify, no Apple Music, none of the platforms that Drake can make money off of was this released. It was released on Instagram on Drake's profile, just dropped. That's it. So that's the first thing. There is no money that Drake is making off of this. And when you're not making money off something, it's really hard to cease and desist something when it's not making money off it. That's the number one thing. Second, people are going to be like, well, Quake, there was a Weekend and Drake AI song that somebody ghostwritten that was using, Drake and Weekend's likeness, that people thought it was real. That got removed. Why did that get cease and desist removed? Well, that actually got added to streaming platforms. Not even joking. It got added to Spotify. I don't know if it got added to Apple Music, but I know it got added to Spotify. It was racking up hundreds of thousands of streams. That's a different story. Had Drake posted this on Spotify, Apple Music and stuff, it would have been way worse, obviously. But Drake was smart enough not to do that. Third, it's also very clear this is AI. Drake is not trying to deceive anybody or lie to anybody and say, well, this is real Tupac vocals. Because first off, Tupac didn't know who Kendrick was or Drake was. Obviously, he died way before they even became anything. And second, clear as day, Drake never claimed this is real. Snoop Dogg never said it was me on the track. He just laughed at the situation, which confirms it was AI. So Drake is not pushing this record as official Tupac vocals. That's another thing. So he's not really deceiving the public. It's different with that Weekend and Drake track that got removed and cease and desisted. That was on streaming platforms and it was deceiving the public. They didn't say, hey, this is AI. They just said this is a real Weekend and Drake track and pushed it as that. That's the difference in this. So I need people to really, differentiate the two. Yes, can it be viewed as disrespectful to Tupac and his estate? Yes. But every day people say disrespectful shit about Tupac. Every day people have opinions about Tupac. Vlad had interviewed one of the women that said he got raped. She got raped by Tupac. They can't cease and desist that. Tupac is a public figure, so people are going to speak on Tupac regardless. So they can't cease and desist just, people that are doing regular people things about public figures. So I think Drake is in the clear here because AI, the laws in AI voice manipulation still hasn't been firm yet. We don't know what the laws are, but this is probably going to catch a lot of people's attention, a lot of lawmakers' attention, and then eventually there are going to be laws put into all this AI stuff. That, hey, if you do this AI stuff, if you manipulate it, or you try to persuade people into thinking this is real, you can face jail time, prison time, whatever. But we're not at that point yet. So their estate is threatening a lot of things, but are they actually going to pull the trigger? We'll see. As of now, I'm going to actually go on the phone and check right now. As of now, Drake hasn't taken down, I think, the record. Nope, it's still up there. How many streams has it got? 48 million plays on the Instagram. 48 million. He's not making any money off that, though. 2.2 million likes, 48 million streams on the Instagram page. It's obviously on different platforms, but Drake can't control who rips it off that and posts it on YouTube and all these other platforms. He can only control what he can control. So, I think that they want to, people are kind of, the thing about Tupac's estate too is it's ran by a guy who people are saying it's not really, it has no affiliation with Tupac, and that Tupac's family is against the estate. They don't really like the estate, but I don't know. That's a whole different story that we're getting into. But regardless, they're looking out for Tupac's best interest when it comes to his intellectual property. And one guy said it best, man. I don't know where I read this at, but Tupac's been the most relevant artist year after year, even after his death. Like, we're in 2024, and Tupac is still talked about daily, every single year. That guy's impact is undeniable. Tupac's brother, let's go over what he had to say. So Tupac's brother has dismissed Drake for using his late brother's voice in the viral AR track against Kendrick Lamar. According to an article published by TMZ on Tuesday, April 23rd, Mopreme Shakur thinks it was inappropriate for the Sixth God to use his sibling's likeness to disrespect another rapper. He said this: he reportedly feels that Drizzy should have gone one-on-one with K-Dot rather than bring out what he referred to as a nuclear option. Well aware of the Compton MC's place in West Coast rap, he saw that the computer-generated use of Pac's voice in said context to be uncalled for. Finally, Mopreme told the outlet that he still can't decide who the winner of the hip-hop battle royale is quite yet, because it is still too soon to land on a conclusion. The joint in question was released by Canadian Superstar across social media platforms last week. Yeah, tailor-made freestyle, we know. So that's how his brother feels. If that's how his brother feels, then, hey, man, you got to respect it. I think it upset people. Some people don't care. I personally really don't care because it's not trying to trick people into thinking it's Tupac and Snoop Dogg. That's the number one thing for me when it comes to this AI stuff. If you're trying to trick and pass it off as the real thing, then I got an issue with you. But if you make it clear, hey, this is the AI version of this artist, it's not real, it's written by somebody else, it's this and that. Hey, man, as much as I don't like it, at least there's no manipulating here, because with this AI stuff, there's going to be a lot of manipulating. There'll be a lot of fake videos, a lot of fake audio. There's going to be a lot of trying to trick people into things. And that's where I have an issue with AI. I got no issue with people being creative and just coming up with things and just making it clear it's AI. That's the problem with my whole thing with AI. But we'll keep our eyes posted and see if anything changes as the days go on. Quavo has officially responded to Chris Brown. And I don't know how I feel about the record, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I've listened to it quite some time since it got released. And, Takeoff is featured in it. Rest in peace to Takeoff. And honestly, it works well with Takeoff. That's the thing I like about the record, is that it sounds like Takeoff's actually in the track, going at Chris Brown in a way. But do I think lyrically or the energy doesn't match Chris Brown's? I don't know, man. So let's go over the track. The track is called Over Hoes and Bitches. And, Quavo basically goes, a couple of bars over at a lot of stuff that Chris Brown has dealt with in his life. So let's go over it, man. Intro, it starts out, pussy guy, pull up, crash out about your bae. Little bitch, come dance, battle with my Drake. You've been fucked your bag up when you punched Rhea in the face. So he's responding to Chris Brown saying, I should have fucked you up at the fashion show, but I didn't want to mess up my bag. And he said, you messed up your bag a long time ago when you abused Rihanna. Talking about Fashion Week, you sparring who? Come punch me in my face. It ain't nothing but a fade. You lost to Frank. So this reports that, Frank Ocean and Chris Brown apparently fought each other at a parking lot. They were arguing over a parking space, which is the dumbest thing ever. And, there were a lot of stuff back and forth that happened. Chris Brown attempted to shake Frank Ocean's hand. Frank Ocean declined, and then Chris Brown punched Frank Ocean in the face. And then two members of Brown's entourage joined in, pushing Ocean into a corner, attempting to kick him. The police report stated that Brown threatened to shoot Ocean, saying, we can bust your ass on your ass too. Additionally, Ocean, who had previously revealed his relationship with a man in an open letter a year before, mentioned that at some point during the two 3-minute altercation. Someone in Brown's group shouted slurs towards him. Ultimately, Frank Ocean did not press any charges. And then he's saying you lost Frank. Frank whooped your ass, but it looks like Chris Brown's the one that did it. He said guys ran into your house, tied up your aunt because you ain't pay. This is referring to the 2015 robbery in San Fernando Valley home where his aunt was tied up. Quavo was insinuating that the robbery was retaliation for Chris Brown not paying his debt. Yeah, something happened there, man. If they got access to your house the way that they did, something's weird there. He says the bullet got your name. Don't ever bring up take pussy. You know, half y'all guys some hoes out here, and this is where Takeoff starts. I'm talking about these guys bleed once a month type shit, which is hilarious. So Takeoff's got his own thing where he kind of has this hook going on that you're a pussy and all this stuff, which fits well. I mean, give it up to Quavo for that. But, you know, he continues on, and this is like kind of, it's really one verse, and then it's Takeoff doing his hook again. So this is what Quavo says. Lil boy want to die about some coochie. You still fucked up about Karrueche. You know, Quavo dating Karrueche started a lot of this stuff. You try to be up Tiana Taylor, but Usher wouldn't let you do it. That's another thing that happened back in 2023 on May 5th. Usher threw a surprise party. Chris Brown attended in Las Vegas. Allegedly, Chris Brown got drunk and approached model singer Tiana Taylor and got very disrespectful with her. But it was reported that Usher attempted to calm the situation down, which made Chris very upset, in which he called Usher a coward and yelled, "I don't care, fuck her." After Chris Brown left with his crew, Usher followed him to his bus, which led to Brown's crew jumping Usher to the point where he got a bloody nose. Both artists were set to perform at 2023 Lovers and Friends Festival later that night, in which they both did. So he's calling this out, saying the cocaine got him, Your Honor. Bipolar disorder, no wonder. You was the greatest. You fumbled, going out sad. I'm watching you crumble. Why they got Quavo out here going back and forth with a singer that turned to a junkie. Now we got light skin versus brown skin. Guy finna dive. You're finna divide the country. You ain't been in the trenches. We stomp in the yard. You know how that ended. You know, stomp the yard. Chris Brown got killed in the movie. Want smoke with me? OHB mean fighting over hoes and bitches. Who gassed you up to put that out? Yeah, that was shitty. I can take a model bitch and make a sweetie. Interesting enough. Crackhead Michael Jackson bitch. You better beat it, which is hilarious. I'm still fucked up about Takeoff. I want who did it. But that's some real street shit. Back to the industry. Where your baby mama's at. No, they got plenty tea. Pussy, every time you see me, keep that energy. Can't believe I gotta beat you about some women beef. And then the Takeoff verse comes in. So, you know, Chris Brown responded to this. And I honestly, I agree with Chris Brown's response. Let's see. I forget what he posted. Let's see here. Response to Quavo. Quavo diss. This is what he posted on his story. His Instagram stories. A bunch of laughing emojis. He said, Google raps. That shit is poo. Damn, and I was excited. That shit don't even need a response. Takeoff rap better. So Chris Brown's saying, I'm not going to respond to this. He's basically ending the rap battle, which is unfortunate. I think Chris Brown should respond just to put the nail in the coffin. You already cooked him with that other record. Put the nail in the coffin, end this. I do agree, though. A lot of the stuff that Quavo said, the record was all right. You know, Takeoff did his thing, and then Quavo, I don't know, just the record, like the Chris Brown shit just hit a lot harder. The beat's better, delivery's better. Chris Brown said a lot more, I think, intriguing things, at least to me. This record was a good effort, but Chris Brown got Quavo on that. And I think Quavo tried his best, man. I think Takeoff being on it, insinuating that he's like joining in on the beef despite him passing away, it was a great move. I think it was a really great move. I think that's the best part about the track. But other than that, Quavo spit one verse and didn't really say much that was, you know, really, oh my God, like, so. And then Sweetie posts that Quavo was like still in her DMs. She said, hopefully the model he turns into me replies. This is what's funny is the date of this screenshot of what she screenshot. The date of it is January 14th, 2024. that night, she was sitting courtside with Chris Brown at a basketball game. So Quavo probably was still in his feelings about Chris Brown dating Sweetie. That's why he hit her up that night and said, "Damn, we used to be mean as fuck to each other." So he probably just mentioned about some stuff and was like, "I'm sorry for being an asshole," blah blah blah. So he probably has some feelings about Sweetie, the fact that Chris Brown dated her. Even though he's in the records, he's saying she's just another thought that I was dating. I could care less. But in the messages, it seems like he's upset that Sweetie was dating Chris Brown. So somebody's in their feelings, pretending like they're not in their feelings. And Chris Brown's in his feelings as well. Two guys that have dated each other's exes that are still upset about each other's exes. That's basically what this is. It's unfortunate because it's very corny. I think once somebody's an ex, after, I don't know, man. For me, if I break up with a girl, I've never gone back personally, but I'm kind of over the situation, man. I think if I break up with somebody, I have a fallout, the most I'll give it probably 6 months. If I ever want to get back with that person, that's a long time. But after a while, people change, man. They move on. They people change. People evolve, man. Some people evolve quick, and I'm not interested, man. I remember a girl coming back to me years later was interested in me. I said, "Listen, that ship sailed a long time ago. I was interested in you back then. Now we're like 4 or 5 years down the line. I'm a totally different person. I'm sure you're a totally different person. I would hope you are after all these years, and you've evolved. I got no interest in you anymore. Sorry." I don't know how long their relation. I know Carucci and Chris Brown dated all the way back until 2015, so it's been a long time, almost 10 years. Chris Brown, let that shit go. Whatever happened, move on. You're a multi-millionaire. You can get any woman that you want, and you're still obsessed about that. Same with Quavo, multi-millionaire, can get any woman you want, still obsessed about her. All about females and women. That's all this shit's about. So, yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted since I don't think Chris Brown's going to respond. He's kind of made it clear his Google Raps garbage shit. And honestly, I think he won, man. If I'm looking at the whole thing right now, as of right now, I think he won. I think he got the better diss track. So we'll keep our eyes posted. All right, time for the Billboard Hot 100, and it looks like finally the future Metro Boomin, Kendrick Lamar, like that track, has lost the #1 spot. And no, it's not to Taylor Swift yet. Some guy, Hosier, Too Sweet, is #1. Last week he was #2, so took him out after, #2 slot, now #1. I don't know this record. I don't listen to Hosier, but shout out to him for getting the #1 spot. Like that is #2, Future Metro Boomin, Kendrick Lamar. #3 is Beautiful Things, Benson Bone. #4 is Loose Control, Teddy Swims. #5 is Beyonce, Texas Hold'em. #6 is Jack Harlow, Lovin' on Me. #7 debuted Sabrina Carpenter, Espresso. #8, We Can't Be Friends, Ariana Grande. #9, Stick Season, Noah Khan. #10, Saturn, SZA. Going down type shit with Future Metro Boomin is #14. Glorilla, Megan Thee Stallion, Wannabe is #17. SZA, Snooze, #19. Carnival, Ty Dolla $ign and Kanye West, #20. We Still Don't Trust You debuted, the title track debuted at #22. Get It Sexy Red, which is a horrible artist, but whatever. She's at #23. Red Rum, 21 Savage, #25. Act, Date at 8, 4 Bats with Drake, #30. Yeah, Glow, Stomp a Loop. She did a horrible act. No Glow, that whole drunk driving shit. She's at #32. Shabuzi, wow. He got a #36 debut. This guy's like a country artist who remixed the Jaquan, Everybody in the Club Get Tips. He debuted at #36 with that record. I'm sure it's going to keep going up from there. That record is catchy as fuck. Future Metro Boomin, Cinderella, #37. Red Leather, Future Metro Boomin, 39 debut. Out of My Hands, Future Metro Boomin, 41 debut. Fiend, Travis Scott, #45. Drink and Dance, Future Metro Boomin, #51 debut. Jealous, Future Metro Boomin, #54 debut. Enough, Cardi B, #55. Key Glock and Young Dolph, Let's Go remixed, boosted it from #99 last week to #59. Shout out to Key Glock and Young Dolph. That's what's up, man. That's the highest position it's gotten. Mind you, Key Glock is doing this independently. PRE is not signed to a major label. So shout out to Key Glock. Hold it down, PRE. Rest in peace to Dolph. Great record. Future, Metro Boomin, All My Life, number 61 debut. Everybody, Nicki Minaj, number 65. All to Myself, Future, Metro Boomin, number 67 debut. Show of Hands, Future, Metro Boomin, number 71 debut. Young Metro, Future, Metro Boomin, number 72. Future, Metro Boomin, Love Bad Bitches, number 73 debut. This Sunday, Future, Metro Boomin, number 77 debut. FTCU, Nicki Minaj, number 80. Nights Like This, Future, Metro Boomin, number 81 debut. We Don't Trust You, the title track off the first collab album they dropped, is at number 86, Future, Metro Boomin. Crocodile Tears, J. Cole is at number 90. Streets Made Me a King, Future, Metro Boomin, number 95 debut. J. Cole, Huntin' Wabbits, number 98. By the way, the J. Cole 7-minute drill has the largest fall off of a track ever. It actually beat 6ix9ine. And that's not really because the track wasn't good. It's just he removed off streaming platforms, so it completely fell off the charts. Can't stream it, can't be on the charts. And then number 99 and number 100, Future, Metro Boomin, came to the party, and then Future, Metro Boomin, Nobody Knows My Struggle. Both debuted at those spots. So interesting. They got a couple records on the charts in the second album. Not as well as the first one, but did their thing, man. So shout out to them. And that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, of course, powered by Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Get your Golden Eagle at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. They sponsored all of season 4 of the podcast. So please show them support because they've showed us support. Spotify, Deezer, podcasts, YouTube, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.